Welcome to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. My name is Danny Heifetz, and I am joined by Danny Kelly and Kirk Horlbeck. We are going over all the games from Sunday of Week 11. Follow us on Instagram at Ringer Fantasy. Follow us on TikTok at Ringer Fantasy Football. And wait, no, we're Ringer Fantasy on Instagram or TikTok. Just Ringer Fantasy. And the email is ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com, right?
No, I think it's Ringer Fantasy Football at all.
Oh, yeah, right. That makes more sense. Okay, so Ringer Fantasy Football, Instagram and TikTok, ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Send us trivia for Monday. Send us fantasy court cases for our Power on Wednesdays. We're going to go through all the games from Sunday. We have to start with Sunday Night Football. Craig, you're former Chargers third-string quarterback.
Yeah.
You are, Los Angeles, not native, but adopted Los Angelino. I feel like this game was genuinely the debutante, if you will, for the Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert Chargers experience. And I actually feel like this game felt like a change in the Chargers' depressing history. Do you think I'm going too far?
No. I mean, I played on the teams that were coached by Anthony Lynn and Brandon Staley. And it did feel like in the second half, there was a bit of the Staley residue. You could feel it. Everything slowed down. The crowd completely changed. The crowd was kind of loud in the first half. Then in the second half, I remember the Chargers sacked Burrow and the crowd was like, okay. Like they were just completely taken out of it. But this is a credit to what Harbaugh does, right? Like he kept this team afloat. I don't know. This is more about Evan McPherson missing 2 field goals, really. But that stuff normally happens to the Chargers. So maybe things are getting better.
Yeah, DK, the Bengals they almost had the biggest comeback tied the biggest comeback in franchise history, 21 points. They had the third biggest halftime deficit under the Zach Taylor era since 2019. But the Chargers, as Craig just said, always lose these games. Do you feel like this was an exorcism for the Chargers?
Let me ask this question, DK. Is this a better win for the Chargers or worse loss for the Bengals?
Better win for the Chargers. I think it's like you said, Craig, it's a vibes changer. And I think that's the one thing, or the big thing that Jim Harbaugh does. Like, I guess the good example of this is the way that he interacts and builds up his quarterbacks and tries to get their confidence up and tries to keep the energy up and puts all his belief in them. He's done this over the years with, Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, go down the list. Like he's very good at, instilling confidence in his team. I think that's like one of the things that the Chargers have struggled with over the years is like, if things get tough, they kind of fall apart. Things got tough and the Bengals came back in this game, but the Chargers kind of hung with it, ended up, outlasting the Bengals. I think this is like, it's not going to solve all the Chargers problems. And, during the fourth quarter, we were like chargering intensifies. I searched chargering intensifies on Twitter and it's like, I saw something from like every season over the last like 6 or 7 years. It's just so funny. It's just like kind of in their DNA. But yeah, they won the game. They escaped it. And maybe this can be, like you said, an exercising of the demons.
And so the Chargers won this game 34-27. They were up 24-6 at halftime. And then the Bengals came back. The Bengals have to be the best 4-win team I've ever seen in my entire life.
I believe they went up 27-6, right? Because the Chargers then started the second half with a field goal, right?
Yeah.
So honestly, 27-6. Yep.
Yeah.
It was like a discount 28-3 comeback with the Bengals. And frankly, this whole 2-minute warning, it was almost like that Bills Chiefs 13 seconds game where everyone kept scoring after the 2-minute warning if nobody scored. Because the Bengals missed a field goal after the 2-minute warning. And then the Chargers gave them the ball back in 22 seconds. And then the Bengals took up 41 seconds and then gave the ball back. So the Bengals ended up with 3 failed drives after the 2-minute warning, which is incredible. And so there was like a lot of mismanagement. I think there was a lot of misclock management. I don't know. I feel like before the comeback and everything with the threat of the Chargers like losing and blowing this game and it being another one, the story of this game to me was, one, just how incredible Justin Herbert was. And then later it was how incredible Burrow and Justin Herbert was. But I feel like we have to give Justin Herbert his flowers. This game to me, frankly, I feel like Justin Herbert, watching him tonight, the arm strength, the movement, the literally just the way he's able to, we use the term laser too much, the lasers that Justin Herbert throws. We've talked all season about history doesn't repeat, but sometimes it rhymes. Justin Herbert, to me, feels like the spiritual successor to Andrew Luck. And I feel like tonight, Justin Herbert made me feel the way I used to feel watching Andrew Luck play. And this whole Chargers team, to me, feels like obviously Jim Harbaugh was Andrew Luck's coach in college. And I kind of felt tonight like I was watching Jim Harbaugh if he had gotten the chance to coach Andrew Luck in the NFL. I really do feel that way. I don't know. I am officially like all in on this Jim Harbaugh Herbert Chargers experience, and I think that they're right there with the Bills and the Chiefs in terms of the next 5 years in the AFC.
Can I ask one quick question? This is a little bit off topic. When did we start saying give him his flowers? I feel like
I don't know. I think I saw it on the internet
like 2 years ago, and then we all started saying it.
I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. You're right.
It's kind of like as a group.
Can we
sunset
that?
Saying it?
Yeah, we could do that.
Except for when we're talking about LaFleur.
But in what context do you give anyone flowers other than your partner or like a funeral?
I know, it's weird. I just feel like at one point 2 years ago, everyone started saying it. I'm like, is this an old expression, or did we all just decide one day that we should start giving people flowers?
I know. How often are you giving people congratulatory flowers?
Almost never.
Right. I think my biggest takeaway was probably I feel really good for the Chargers because it's been so bad for so long. And Harbaugh, when like, go with me here a little bit on this analogy. It's not exactly apples to apples, but like, when a dad is like refusing to get like the dad in the family wants to get a dog, but the dad's the only one resisting it. And then when they get the dog, the dad ends up becoming like best friends, like inseparable with the dog. Like
me and my cat.
Right. That feels like that is like Herbert and Harbaugh to me, not in that Harbaugh was resisting it in any way or anything like that, but like the connection that the two of them have feels truly like, I don't know if it's father son. Maybe calling Herbert a dog is bad, but they just have something about them. Watch every time they play, they always cut to the warm up of Harbaugh banging on his pads, punching him in the chest.
Oh my God!
His helmet, and Herbert's like loving it. It's like a dog like in a hose, It's just like
trying to bite the water.
Totally.
You know what it's like? It's like the love of that guy at the park whose dog is like off the leash, but it's the best behaved dog there, and he just has the little. What's the thrower of the ball? The plastic stick that throws the ball.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it's
called.
I don't know
what
that's
called.
Throw a tennis ball like 100 yards.
And it's and it's like that guy, and he has the dog, and it's like the dog's off the leash, but like they clearly love each other, like they're in like a Jeep Wrangler commercial or something.
I will be clear for the ghosts. Harbaugh's done this with all his quarterbacks, with the pad thing, like before the game. That's been like a tradition he's had forever. Yeah. But I do agree with you 100% that this feels like true love. For some reason, it's like there's something there. They have like this
for some reason
connection.
it's like the highest level of male bonding.
Yeah.
Is like love shoving.
But I think also it's okay if he does it. I mean, that's what a good coach does, right? He makes you feel special. But I think particularly with the Chargers, it's been so depressing for so long that it like feels even better. This is not like a storied franchise or anything like that, like Michigan or the Niners. Like this is a fucking Chargers, and he's
honestly the
around.
Chargers have just as bad luck as almost the Bills or the Vikings, except they're in LA and San Diego and the best weather in like the entire world, so no one feels bad for them. But I mean, it's like their luck has been as horrific as almost any team. So it's incredible. Honestly, they have it all. I don't know. I think the reason I have so much belief, I don't know if the Chargers will be a Super Bowl contender this year. They could though. But I look at this team as they're built the right way because they've built the team from the offensive line out. And it's a cliche, but dude, what Harbaugh said in February when he's like, the offensive line is the only position that makes everybody on the team better because it protects the quarterback, makes the running game better, and it makes the defense better too because it lets the defense rest and it like lets them run the ball. And it's all the cliches are true. And I feel like you see that tonight. And like the fact that they have Slater and Joe All, I don't know. I feel like this team is so well positioned for as long as Herbert is upright. So
can we give T. Higgins his flowers for a second?
Yeah.
I just want to say T. Higgins is the fucking man. And if the Bengals let him go, they're stupid. And wherever he's going to go, he's going to be awesome. And he plays football. He honestly, you know why he gets hurt so much? And this is going to sound kind of cliche, but I think he actually like plays football like the right way. He plays a little old school. He plays like Jawan Jennings. Like these guys are like, every time they catch the ball, they are fighting
like
for the extra 2 yards. And that's usually when guys get hurt, right? Instead of just ducking out of bounds like a lot of wide receivers do. T. Higgins is pushing it. He's got like some of the best hands in the league. He almost caught that Hail Mary at the end of the game.
Dude, that was wild.
Higgins, he's maybe the best receiver in the NFL. Not the best because it's probably right there with Jefferson, but he's one of the 5 best receivers in the NFL at high pointing the ball. He's always like extending his long ass arms and catching it at the far point to the point that when he And ironically, they lost because he dropped the ball in the end zone actually, but he's so good at that. It actually makes you realize how much worse players are, like Quentin Johnston on the Chargers, or Jerry Jeudy, who have to catch it on their body, and you only really notice it when then T. Higgins is out there like always catching it like 3 feet in front of the defender, and you're like, why can't other guys use their hands to catch a football?
I just think he's awesome. And they were talking about him. Burrow, there was some quote that Burrow gave when that Tirico was talking about, and it kind of sounds like Burrow is telling the Bengals, like, hey, I'd really like this guy to be on my team next year.
He's unbelievable.
Him being like, we're a completely different team when he's on the field. I love him. He's one of my best friends on the team. We can talk about anything. Like, I didn't realize that. I think everybody always assumes Burrow chased the LSU thing.
Right.
But it sounds like T. Higgins is like beloved in that locker room, and Burrow really likes him.
I mean, I think Collinsworth said it during the game. He was like, you can't double team everyone. Like, you have to have a good second option. And I think it's harder to find guys like that than people seem to think or whatever. It's like, oh, they got to let him go and then find someone else. Like, look at like Jermaine Burton or whatever. It's like,
my God,
he misjudged like a ball terribly in this game. And obviously like total loose cannon from a personality point of view. Josvash or whatever. Josvash is
the composer.
He's a quality, he's a quality like role player, but like he's not going to be a good number 2.
Higgins is a game changer.
Yeah, it's like having 2 ones essentially. And if you look at all the good offenses in the NFL, they all have 2 guys.
I feel bad for Burrow, man. I think Burrow's face is easier to read than a lot of quarterbacks. Like he is visibly pissed after all these losses. He looks like one of the more competitive guys in the league. At least that's how he wears his competitiveness on his sleeve.
So good, yeah.
And I mean, I do feel for him. He's playing like the best football of his life. He was like perfect in the second half today.
I really think this Burrow season is going to be on the short list of like the best quarterback seasons ever that will not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right.
It's actually insane. And it's not just like a run. It's basically since week 3. He's just been on an absolute, he's been shredding. And then, just T. Higgins coming back. I want to just note one other thing or 2 other things. Craig, I want to give you your flowers. Okay. Not really. I want you texted us during the game.
I shouldn't have said it.
We're never letting this one go. But I will say the Bengals, and again, because I'm sure all the Bengals fans listening hate me because I was out on Burrow during the offseason, but I will admit the Bengals got totally screwed at the end of the first half because there were like 3 flags on that handed the Chargers 3 points at the end of the first half. That was ridiculous. And there was a roughing the passer on that was kind of like it was literally wrong. And then Trey Hendrickson dragged Herbert down.
Yeah, it was a
whatever. It looked like a horse collar.
No, but horse collar is not illegal when you're in the pocket.
No,
right. But they didn't call horse collar. They called it like roughing the passer,
which is BS. Yeah.
Terry McCauley, the ref on NBC, comes on and says that was the wrong call. And then Craig you text the group, quote, I fucking hate the broadcast ref that comes in and completely disagrees with the call made on the field. And Craig,
are you like mad you want them to like do something about it?
Well, I'm just like, what is the point of this if you can't get it right? Like, so it's like they make a call in the field and then Terry swoops in and clearly disagrees. And I'm just like, to me, it hurts the credibility of the game I'm watching. It hurts the credibility of the league. I'm like, if a ref is disagreeing on the broadcast, why isn't the ref on the field making the same call? Why are they not on the same page?
He doesn't work for them anymore. He works
to validate how we're feeling at home about it being a BS call, I think.
I actually don't understand. I understand having a consultant to be like, can you teach us about a rule? But having Terry McCauley just come in and be like, that's the wrong call.
Yeah, but do you want him to agree with the refs like
don't bring him in at all. I don't want him there.
Okay.
That just pisses me off. And I'm like, cool. So they just made 3 incorrect calls in a row. First, they let the clock run past the 2-minute warning for some reason. Tirico didn't know what to say there. They ran a play. The horse collar thing. And then there was the missed intentional grounding. And Terry comes in. He's like, yeah, that was grounding. It's like, great.
See, I'm stunned by this because DK, I feel like DK, aren't you way angrier when the refs make a terrible call? And honestly, the ESPN guy, John Perry, is like always like defending the refs' terrible calls. And they're like, actually, that was a great call, Joe. And Joe's like, was it now? And Trakeman's like, I don't think that was a good call.
I'm actually like fine. If Craig is like suggesting that the referee experts are just not part of the broadcast, I'm actually totally fine with that. I don't care that much about it. But I will say I'd be way madder if it was a guy that was coming in and essentially just being like a mouthpiece for the referees and like defending them and like lying to us essentially. Like I actually appreciate that McCauley's like, yeah, that was really wrong.
I agree, Craig. I don't understand. You're going to be shocked, but I totally disagree, Craig.
Right.
I'm
It's
just
actually
like,
the opposite.
Yeah.
The Danny Heifetz story.
I just don't understand. I'm like, I like the idea that you're like pissed about a call and you're like, that's not the rule. And then a ref being like, yeah, that was the wrong call. You don't want to know that was the wrong call. You'd rather just live being like, yeah, I guess that's like they got it wrong. And then someone can confirm like, yeah, that was the wrong call in the moment. That's very valuable.
Ignorance is bliss is the correct way to live. I do believe in that philosophy. However, I'm just like,
well, that's a conversation we can have.
it's not that I'm upset that Terry is like saying what he thinks. That's fine. But I'm just like, I don't want him there. I don't enjoy a ref coming in to tell me that his coworker, his peer, is wrong. I'm like, well, then why aren't you on the field, Terry? I like this.
He's getting paid more to do a lot
it's so
less
much
work
easier.
at NBC.
I'm just
so
watching
much easier.
I'm watching an entire drive, and the professionals on the field are just screwing up play after play. And then a retired professional's like, yeah, they're all wrong. And I'm like, well, then what are we doing here? This sucks.
You know what's funny? There is a meta answer to this, and then we could go back to the games that happened. There is a small dynamic where like it started with Mike Pereira on Fox because Fox figured this out first, right? And they were like, oh, the ref in the booth when no one knows what a catch is pretty helpful.
Yeah, no one knows the rules. There's too many rules.
No one knows the rule. Well, it really started with Mike Pereira, like no one knew what a catch was. But then everyone realized, wait, I can make 10 times the money to work one day a week and not have to be screamed at all the time, and people will like me, and like I could just mansplain all these rules to everyone for like a fraction of the work and 10 times the money.
Sounds pretty wonderful, actually.
You know what happened? All the best refs retired to go to work for TV. Then they had the bottom 4 crews are so much worse than they used to be.
It's the replacement refs. They never left. Yeah.
So now we have Sean Hockley, Ed Hockley's son, because Terry McCauley left and Dean Blandino left and all those people. Yeah.
So it's like when like a stand-up comedian becomes a movie star and they're just like, they make like 2 movies a year, make 30 mil. And then the stand-up comedians are still just out working like working bars and whatnot, just like grinding.
Yeah, now Sean Hockley's getting calls wrong in German. I don't know. God. I'm just like this. This is just a weird experience that I'm just watching one ref be like, that other ref's wrong. And I'm like, well, then figure out the refs that'll get it right. Pick the refs that'll get it right and put them on the field.
There were a lot of them today, though. There was a particular amount of blatantly wrong calls.
I don't know.
All right, we can get into winners and losers right now. I feel like the big winner of the day has to be Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. The Bills beat the Chiefs 30-21. There are now no unbeaten teams left in the NFL because the Bills beat the Chiefs. Josh Allen completed 27 of 40 passes, which is 68% completion, 260 plus yards, a touchdown, a pick, 12 carries for 55 yards, including the 4th and 2 touchdown run to seal the game.
That was tight.
Yeah, I mean, DK, it's what you always say
how
about
high
Josh
are
Allen.
you right now?
DK, you want to give Josh Allen his flowers?
Like McLovin after they do, like he shoots the gun. It's like tight.
What's having 2 guns like?
The Josh Allen play was like another version of the Lieutenant Spears lore for Josh. If you don't remember, I compared Josh Allen, I think it was last year in January at some point. I can't even remember what the exact play was, but to Lieutenant Spears from Band of Brothers, where Lieutenant Spears, he like literally ran through the German lines in this town to get to the other side. And everyone was like so shocked that he was doing it. They just like didn't shoot him. And they were like, what the hell? And this is like Josh Allen. Every time he gets on his horse and goes, he just turns into like, you can't, the opponents like are so shocked they don't even know what to do. They can't tell.
No, they're not ready to hit a quarterback because the other 16 quarterbacks they play all year, they're just like, hey, by the time he gets to the secondary, he's going to slide. Don't hit him. It'll be 15 yards. Josh Allen's barreling through. They're like, oh, I got to tackle him. All right, Craig, you have been begging, demanding that Josh Allen wins an MVP this season. I feel like if he does win MVP, this 4th and 2 run will be the moment we remember from the season. Do you want to take this moment to give Josh Allen his flowers?
We need to all acknowledge that Josh Allen deserves his flowers, and we are presenting them to him.
Is it like the wreath of flowers that goes around the horse's neck when they win?
Oh, yeah, like the Derby?
Oh, I imagine it like an old school bouquet that you give to like the winner of an Oscar or something.
We gotta give them their flowers.
I kind of like the idea of Josh Allen, though, getting like a horse.
Yeah, sure. He ran like a horse on that last play. The thing is,
like a horse.
Josh Allen does this stuff every year. So I'm like, this was not like some something that we're not used to, that, oh my God, that's going to be the Josh Allen play. He's so good. He does this all the time. It's great that they beat the Chiefs. I said this on the Thursday show. I'm sick of these games because the Bills always beat the Chiefs, and then in the playoffs, the Chiefs will beat the Bills.
Fourth straight year, the Bills have beat the Chiefs in the regular season.
That's bizarre.
Savvy move by the Chiefs, You lose a game. Now you gotta kind of reset. You get motivated again. The Bills are the one team you're going to have to beat to get to the Super Bowl anyway. Now you can head into the playoffs with a little bit of fuck you attitude towards Buffalo, the team that beat you. Maybe Buffalo's guard is a little bit down now. This is a classic savvy play here by the Chiefs.
We're giving the Chiefs flowers for losing.
We have to give the Chiefs their flowers for this loss. Smart loss.
Yeah, no. I can't think of anything that would piss off Bills fans more than like, God, great game from Mahomes.
Smart, savvy loss.
Incredible loss. Incredible job. I will say the Chiefs really stopped the run. Like the Bills running backs didn't have a carry over 8 yards. And then Josh just came in with like 55 yards in that like run at the end.
I wonder if the NFL, I don't know why I just said the NFL, the MVP odds, the NFL MVP odds, I want to see if they've changed, because the only person ahead of Allen was Lamar Jackson, who had obviously not a great game today. So I wonder if Josh is now first.
Lamar didn't play great, but it's funny to me that like Lamar is going to definitely fall out of first place for MVP odds, even though, the Ravens are my loser for the day, but Lamar didn't do anything that wrong. I mean, the Ravens lost 18-16. The Ravens lost by 2 points in a game that the Steelers did not score a touchdown. The Ravens, they lost by 2 points, even though they missed two field goals.
Steelers love doing this.
I know.
Isn't this the second game they've won this year with just only field goals?
That's correct.
Yes. The Ravens, they missed two field goals. They fumbled. Derrick Henry fumbled the first play of the game to a former Steeler, and then they fumbled the last drive of the first half into another former Steeler. And so the Steelers got field goals off both those. That right there is 12 points. So that right there is turning a 10-point win into a 2-point loss just with those 4 plays. And I don't know. It is such a classic like Mike Tomlin Steelers game.
It was a real bar fight. I mean, this was like just in a mud pit. And it was honestly like who was going to get the last punch, and the Steelers got the last punch and won this game. In reality, I mean, if Justin Tucker doesn't miss those 2 field goals, I'm not sure how this game turns out. But again, I gotta say, I think we have to give Pittsburgh their flowers. I was kind of like, I'm not sure what tier this team is in. I do think now, I think the Lions are in a tier of their own, but I'm like, it's hard to say now that the Steelers are not with the rest of these guys. I mean,
no, it's not. It's easy. The Steelers are not as good as the Lions. That's ridiculous.
No, I'm saying the Lions are in tier 1, but alone. And I'm saying the Steelers are now in that group of like the next guys on the list of contenders, the non-Lions essentially, that can win the Super Bowl. I think the Steelers have to be there right now. I mean, I think they're the best defense in the league. Maybe it's still Minnesota, but the Steelers, I mean, the Ravens were leading the league in points per game, I think, unless it was the Lions. Held them to 18 points. The fumbles, the Peyton Wilson with the amazing like strip interception.
That was a crazy play.
You never see. Lamar completed 48% of his passes, easily a career low. John Harbaugh has now lost 8 of 9 games to Mike Tomlin.
Craig, I remember you suggested Tomlin always kind of like tweaks out at the end of games, like his end of game clock management and stuff is a little suspect. I thought like low key, one of the best plays of this game, or best decisions of this game, was right after the Ravens scored their touchdown really late. It was like, there's 1 minute and 11 seconds left. Lamar Jackson hit Zay Flowers for a touchdown, and they were going to go for 2. And right before the snap, they called timeout. Yeah. And that play looked like it was going to score. It looked like they were going to do a pop pass or something. Yeah. Or I don't know, maybe it was just like it
looked like a jump pass.
Keeper. Yeah.
Yeah, it did look like a jump pass.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah. And that timeout, I think, was like honestly the play of the game, because the next play they tried to do like a quarterback keeper to the left, and it got totally stuffed. But I think that 2-point conversion was going to work.
Well, and the 2-point conversion would have tied the game at 18. And I'm not going to lie, something that never gets talked about with the Ravens, John Harbaugh, the Ravens have had some real mental errors and sloppiness that, frankly, if the Ravens, John Harbaugh, everyone knows John Harbaugh's a great coach. He's a phenomenal coach. But like if the Jaguars and Doug Peterson had committed 12 penalties today and led the league in penalties, led the league in penalty yardage, and then 2-point conversion to tie the game, and then they come out of the timeout with the 2-point conversion. The guys don't line up right. The receivers don't run the right play. Lamar Jackson runs expecting a route that is not there, and they lose. And that was like a different coach. Wouldn't we be shredding the coach? What would we be saying about like Robert Saleh if that was going on? or like, but like the Ravens do this, and like John Harbaugh never gets any criticism. But dude, Tomlin and the Steelers look so much better coached than the Ravens today. And frankly, obviously the Ravens are doing well. Their offense is great, but there's so many mental errors than the Ravens for a team that should be like a Super Bowl favorite. It's just over and over again. The Raiders game that they lost inexplicably, they had 12 penalties in that game. It's just over and over again. The Ravens are shooting themselves in the foot.
Are you saying we should take John Harbaugh's flowers away?
Yeah. I think that we should take, not all of them, but I think some of the flowers.
Yeah.
Some of the bouquet. Yeah, you got to take, I think maybe the filler. I don't know. It's no one ever wants to take any of the flowers, but like, holy crap.
I got to say with Russ, DK, I know like no turnovers, right? That's why there's a lot of close games, no turnovers. That's like what you want. Russ had one turnover today, but I don't really want to even put that on him. I kind of saw what he was doing. Darnell Washington, they were kind of not on the same page.
He kind of stopped.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel like I trust him a little bit, where I'm like, even if the play's breaking down, I know he's not going to do something incredibly stupid. And Fields, I didn't know if I felt that way. But it is nice. Like, I don't think the Steelers are going to be a team that can score like 35 in the playoffs. I do think they're going to have to win games like this, which I think they can with their defense. But it really does feel like for now, like this is a great little fit they have here. Pickens and him are developing more and more chemistry. They had another great. Baltimore really tried to limit the deep balls, and they basically did, except for that one deep one to Pickens. Can we also say actual flowers? Chris Boswell. Chris Boswell is never discussed as the best kicker in the league, and he is. Chris Boswell is the best kicker in the league.
TJ Watt said that today, and I was like, damn, I thought that was a snipe at Justin Tucker, but it's true. Chris Boswell is the best kicker in the league. I think that
he's been the most consistent nails kicker for like a decade now, pretty much, for the Steelers. Six field goals today. First kicker in NFL history with 6+ made field goals in 3 career games. First guy to do it twice in one season.
Did it twice this year. He's won 2 separate games without Steelers scoring a touchdown.
I can't remember the last time he missed a field goal. And if he does, it's in an insignificant moment.
Knock on wood, you psycho.
I'm just saying, even when he does miss it,
crazy
it's in an insignificant moment.
Heifetz is burning up inside hearing you say that, Craig.
I just can't.
He's not going to say
that about my own Super Bowl contender team gives me hives. DK, when you watch the Steelers, do you find yourself impressed by Pittsburgh or just revolted by what they turn their opponents into?
No, I find myself impressed for sure. They're like I think it's like we say this, like they drag other teams down into the mud but I don't think that's like a pejorative necessarily, or it's like,
it used to be derogatory, but now it's complimentary.
Because like, I just think they can play with anybody. They keep every game close, it feels like. And they have some good skill players that can make magical plays. George Pickens, like once a game, makes some crazy ass play. Like Russell Wilson still has a little bit of magic in him. I thought Najee looked pretty good today, especially considering he's been kind of banged up. I don't know. They're just like one of those tough teams. And then I think I text Craig this like once a week. TJ Watt, absolute menace, like just a menace out there. And so, yeah, they're an impressive team. I don't know if they're like like Craig said, they're not the best team in the NFL, but they're like pretty good, and they can play with anybody.
So on that note, we have to go a little out of order here, because on Sundays we usually
hold on.
Oh, please.
We're going to leave the Baltimore Ravens game without giving flowers to Zay Flowers.
For dropping.
We weren't leaving the game. We were staying on the game. But you want to give flowers? Will you give him flowers, or do you want to take him away because he dropped the ball?
When Craig
that hit
said,
his
"Let's
chest?
talk actual flowers," I thought you were going to say Zay Flowers.
Oh no!
Give Zay his flowers.
Touchdown.
Yeah, he also dropped a crucial pass that probably lost them the game.
Ball hit him in the solar plexus.
Okay, I don't actually want to give him flowers, but his name is literally Flowers. So.
Yeah, just call him his middle. What's his middle name? We'll call him that. I will know. We have to. So usually we do the worst play of the day later in the show, and I was going through my notes. Every single thing I wrote down was just from the Steelers, and so I just want to go through the worst Steelers play of the day. And I think we should just decide this right now.
Okay.
I have on the worst Steelers play of the day. You mentioned, Craig, the Russell Wilson end zone pick where they were up by, I think, and then he just like did 2 twirls on a 3rd down, and instead of throwing it out of the back of the end zone, threw it directly to a defender.
They're up 5. So even if it was an incompletion, they would have gone up 8. They kick a field goal. If they score there, the game's kind of over. It was brutal.
Totally, actually game-altering pick.
Yep.
The George Pickens Flores lava catch, where he did like the bizarro instead of a toe drag. He put his 1 foot inbound, like with 4 yards to go, and then stretched his foot like he did like a split as far
get
as
it out of
possible
bounds.
to stick his left foot out of bounds. I've
No,
never seen it in my entire life. It was
I won't hear this slander. I
is that
refute
not
this.
what happened? He tried as hard as he possibly could by accident to get out
He
of bounds.
skipped a step.
No, he tried as
skipped a
hard
step
as
with
he
that.
possibly could to get the first down. He was trying to
Which he already
extend
had.
forward. He didn't. Well, it was close. He was making sure that he got the first down, which a
By
lot of receivers
stepping
don't do.
the ball out of bounds. Like he got confused. Like he literally stepped.
Yeah, he got
could have
confused.
just stepped.
He was trying his best. All right, he was trying
But
to
this
extend
is
for
like
the first down. If
2
I'm a
weeks
coach,
ago, he's tapping his right foot twice with no left leg down. This week, he's tapping his right foot once. He could have stepped 5 times if he wanted to. And instead, he literally leapt he put his foot out like 6 feet.
If I'm his coach, I pat him on the helmet and I say, "Good effort, love you."
Okay, this takes me about our next worst Steelers play of the day. George Pickens on the first drive, he caught a screen 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, made a guy miss, and then passed the line of scrimmage marker. You know how they have the down markers. He looks up, he thinks it's the first down marker, and he signals for a first down, but it was the line of scrimmage.
Hilarious.
I thought it was. I have never seen that at any level of
Pickens
football.
is the best. Yeah.
A guy, it was the third play of the game, and he looks up. He's like, "I got a first." It was like a 2-yard catch. Anyway,
Also, Justin Fields slid before
Yeah.
what he thought was a
This
crucial
is like
first down
almost
and did the same thing.
The
I think that's way
bonehead play of
worse.
the day. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is like the worst.
Yeah.
Dude, you had one job.
wait, if you don't know what we're talking about, so Russell Wilson played the whole game, and then on a crucial, it was really smart. I think it was second
It was
and
second
10.
down. Yeah.
2nd and 10, and it was one of those like the
They're
Ravens
trying to
had
ice
just
the
enough.
game away.
Yeah, it's under the 2-minute
One
warning.
first
and the Ravens
down wins the game.
Yeah, first down wins the game.
Yeah.
And they put Justin Fields in because they're like, you know what? We're not going to pass. Let's just get an extra, let's get an extra guy. And so Fields is going to do a keeper. Fields does an option. Perfect. Just runs like untouched for 8 yards. And then instead of just running the 2 yards, quarterback brain kicks in and he slides. He slides at the 9th yard where he starts. And because you're down when you start, he creates a 3rd and 1 instead of ending the game. And now they have to, oh my God. Literally almost
His brain short-circuited.
That was the first
Short-circuited.
slide of his life. I was also
Yeah.
like, dive forward. I don't know why you didn't dive forward. It worked out. I like the call having him in the game. I actually thought that was really smart to have him
Right.
there. On
It
second
was.
and third.
I actually thought that was like one of my main takeaways from the day was how many games were settled by rushing quarterbacks. Justin Fields kind of did end up settling that game for the Steelers. Taysom Hill, frankly, like single-handed, we'll get to him in a minute, but he kind of ended the Saints game just like this running power sweeps in the quarterback position. Josh Allen ended the Bills game. Geno Smith ended the Seahawks game. Like, I really do feel like quarterbacks just either as designed rushers or as like impromptu rushers, just frankly, like they were just like the bucket getters of the day. And it just reminded me that as much as I'm sick of Daniel Jones, I don't ever really want to go back to having a statue pocket passer that can't do that.
I think a quarterback making a first down or scoring a touchdown just as a scrambler, especially like on 3rd downs, is the most demoralizing play for a defense that you can have, other than like a touchdown, giving up a touchdown. I just think it's so demoralizing if you play really good coverage, you get to the quarterback and flush him out of the pocket, and then he just picks up a first down. And it's like, and you can't hit him because he slides or runs out of bounds. It's just like, to me, it's like the toughest play for a defense.
It's like a third phase now of offense. It used to be like, can you run and can you pass? And now it's like, can you run, can you pass, and can the quarterback run? And seeing people like Herbert even now, who's like feeling healthy and clearly looks it because he's running so much more. That's just like a new dimension. That's like something that's in his head now when he drops back, as he is like, I can take off now for 15 yards. So even if the run game isn't working, if their pass game is working, Herbert being able to run now it's just going from 2 dimensions to 3 for every offense. If you have that.
I totally agree. I think you saw that at the Seahawks-Niners game today, DK, because Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy was dunking on the byline, he was diving, and then
this quick little shit out there every time. He's just making first downs. He's escaping pressure. He's like making something out of nothing. He's a very like frustrating rusher. That was actually something I was thinking of while we were talking about this. Like every time that seemed like they got him bottled up, it's this little shit. Just he squirts out of there and he goes. And gets the first down.
You know how some people hate small dogs? I feel like those people don't like Brock Purdy.
No, I thought he played really well, actually.
Some little Maltese. And like, yappy little dog. But I am a small dog person. I grew up a small dog, so I love Purdy.
But DK, the Seahawks won 2017 over the Niners. And did you have a wonderful, enjoyable time watching your team win a football game?
Familiar feeling following another Seahawks win. Misery. That was just, I was like so stressed the whole game. I told you guys before the week, like playing the Niners is just really frustrating. It's like a torturous event. Thankfully for the Seahawks, Bosa went out a couple times in this game with a hip injury, and the Seahawks scored all 20 of their points when Bosa was on the sideline. I saw that stat from Brady Henderson. So that was helpful to have him not be in there. But yeah, I mean, I think it was funny because the Seahawks, I was getting all these texts like late in the fourth quarter. The Seahawks are so frustrating. I hate this team. I hate watching them, blah, blah, blah. Like, all these frustrating texts. And then like 5 minutes later, they won the game with an awesome Geno Smith drive. I was like, this is just classic Seahawks. Like, this is what I went through for so many years with Russell Wilson. And Geno was nails in the end. Like, I think that's the one thing I will say about the Seahawks team this year that I've been really impressed with is in most of the games, I wouldn't say all of the games, but most of the games, they've been pretty good about like staying tough and staying in it and sticking with it, especially on offense. Like if they make a bad play, they come back and keep going. They don't like crumble under the pressure and start to derail or whatever. I think maybe like one or two games that has happened, but like for the most part, I've been pretty impressed with their toughness. And in this game, like Heifetz mentioned, Geno Smith ran it in with like 12 seconds left from, I think it was like the 12 or 15 yard line. And I mean, they just showed incredible like toughness to stick with that game because it felt like that felt like the worst game for so long. It was so frustrating to watch, and they ended up winning.
And then on the flip side, the Niners ended up losing. So I mean, they're 5-5. This team that like made the Super Bowl last year and like went to overtime in the Super Bowl. The Niners are 5-5. And I mean, there's a lot of takeaways from that. They all sound miserable, and they all, I mean, Fred Warner, the linebacker, who's probably one of the 3 or 4 best defenders in football, had a very disappointing, like just a crushing quote where he was like, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically was like, it's tough. We made a lot of mistakes. That's not really who we are. And then he pauses and he's like, well, until we stop doing that, I guess that is who we are. And I really think that is what happens to so many teams who lose the Super Bowl is like you hype yourself up. You have to believe you're the champ before you are the champ. So they believe you are. And then the season after is like the slow realizing that like you're not that person. And it's like you see it happening with the Niners this year and it's crushing. But this quote I saw from Josh Dubow at the Associated Press blew my mind. There have been 125 coaches that have coached 40 games that were decided by 7 points or less. So 1 possession games. 125 coaches have coached 41 possession games. And of that, of the 125 coaches, Kyle Shanahan is 7th to last in winning percentage in those games. 7th worst in winning 1 possession games. That's pretty damning.
He's like a tragic character.
I know. It doesn't
tough.
feel like it's going to get easier either. I don't know if he's going to have to like change teams or something, or, go to Thailand or something and come back. But
there's an idea.
I think the biggest issue with the Niners this year is that I think they're not able to get that same push and generate like those big play runs. And in general, I just don't think they generate chunk plays anymore. Like that was the Niners' bread and butter. Like what the Lions are doing now is like what the Niners used to be. The Niners had 1 play of 20 plus yards today. This is like not who they are. Everything looks so much harder now.
Again, George Kittle's out, and I'm sure a lot of people probably like didn't realize George Kittle was out and probably played him in their lineup or whatever, didn't realize he's hurt. So he's hurt. Debo does not look healthy at all. Ayuk is out for the season. Christian McCaffrey's not like 100% himself. And so again, the healthiest guys in this team are Jawan Jennings coming back from hip injury and Ricky Pearsall, who shot 2 months ago, like really is like one of the healthier guys. And I don't say that as a bit. It's actually true, which is kind of like nuts. And so you look, but the flip side is like the Niners don't have a real drop back passing game, and they never have with Shanahan. And like that, I think that's really what the stat is. It's kind of like how the Falcons blew all those leads. And it's really because the Falcons have no pass rush. Shanahan doesn't have a drop back passing game, and you see it. DK, I'm not going to hold you to this. Gut call. Do you think the Niners signed Purdy? Do you think the Niners re-signed Brock Purdy? Or do you think that Shanahan, like Purdy is like going to get the blame in Shanahan's subconscious?
Is he going to go the way of Jimmy Garoppolo is the question you're asking.
Yeah, because I feel like once you sign Purdy, you're kind of admitting that like this is the guy and there's no more excuses. There's no one to blame.
Right now, I think they will. I still think they will.
I think they have to, but yeah.
I was just looking at their stats right now. I didn't realize Purdy only threw for 159 yards. It felt like it was more than that. I guess this was just kind of one of those like grinded out games where, like we were just talking about with the Steelers, where they drag each other down into the mud and just kind of like fight. But like, I don't know, it felt like he played a little bit better than that. Maybe I'm wrong. That was just first pass, but I do think they'll end up going with them. Who else are they going to have a quarterback.
That's the thing. It's only as good as your alternatives, but I think they're going to have to pay him. But that's the thing is I don't know. I still think that Shanahan is on the Andy Reid Eagles path where they had this peak and it's going to be a very bitter falling out. And I think that Shanahan's going to be an amazing coach at his next stop. But I think that this is going to be unwind. I know that's a fucked up thing to say, but like this was a really good run. And then you get stuck in the purgatory of you're way too good to like, you're not good enough to win the Super Bowl, which is the only thing good enough now. But you're way too good to rebuild, and you get stuck there, and then people get sick, and then you need a new spot.
They're last in the division. They're 10th in NFC standings right now. 10th.
That's insane. They're closer to the Giants.
They have not beaten a team this year that currently has a winning record. The Niners.
Yeah, it's really tough. All right, the I Am Become Death Oppenheimer Award for the player who went nuclear, dude. Taysom Hill. The Taysom Hill, who is listed as a tight end, plays tight end, fullback, wide receiver, slot receiver, quarter. Taysom Hill, this is why
he's a football player.
Sure. He is
just a football play in Jesse.
A Cloyce box.
A regular
he's the
Cloyce
closest
box.
thing we've got
He's
to
an
Cloyce.
end.
Yeah, he's an end.
But Cloyce, so Taysom Hill, most points by any fantasy points by any tight end in any game all year. Taysom Hill had 8 catches for 50 yards. He had 7 carries for 138 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. And he had 2 passes, one of which was intercepted. It was absolutely insane. Cat Terrell.
And he threw a pick.
Yeah. He's the closest thing to LaDainian Tomlinson that we have nowadays, really.
Honestly,
it's Taysom Hill.
Honestly, Taysom Hill is, I don't know if we'll ever see this
the weirdest player of all time.
He's
like
had
a high school player.
75-yard touchdown run today.
He's 34. What other 34-year-old players are doing anything like this right
That's
now?
honestly a good point. We don't talk about that enough with Taysom Hill. He is actually one of the oldest players left in the NFL.
He outran everybody on the other team for 75 yards.
Raheem Mostert's the second oldest player behind him, but Taysom Hill's really a running back at this point. Raheem Mostert's dust. He's like 32. And then Derrick Henry. Like Taysom Hill's by far the oldest guy doing anything like this in the NFL.
He's the weirdest player of all time. I saw this from Ryan Heath. There's 2 games in NFL history where a player with a tight end designation has scored 3+ rushing touchdowns. And it's Taysom Hill in 2022 and Taysom Hill today. He's the weirdest player of all time.
There's so much better with him.
They tried to make him the starting quarterback for a couple years there. Do you remember this? He's the weirdest player of all time.
If he had a better arm, he could do it. But
he's what we wanted Tebow to be.
Yeah, dude, he is what the mind's eye was for Tim Tebow, 100%. Yeah. But Cat Terrell at ESPN research at this. Taysom Hill is the first player with 3 rushing touchdowns, 50 receiving yards, and a completion in a game since Ed Podolak in 1971. Ed Podolak. I don't even know who that is.
Somebody tweeted at me today. I got to try and find this. It was on the 7th day of Christmas, Taysom Hill gave to me. It was 70 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. It was just listing off his stats. He just does a little bit of everything. 1 fumble, 1 pick.
Big game for the football guys. Because the other next best tight end was Brock Bowers for the Raiders, who's another just a football guy.
Dude, Bowers is so good. Bowers is better than I even thought he was going to be. And I was obsessed with this guy. He had a cool 41% target rate today. That's at a tight end spot, which is wild. He is now, let's see here. He had 16 targets, 13 catches, 126 yards, a touchdown. 13 catches is the most ever for a rookie tight end. And I want to see on the year right now. Hold on, I'm going to pull it up. I want to see on the year where he is at catches because coming into the Sunday night game, he was 4th. So right now, Brock Bowers, among all tight ends and receivers, so basically all players, is 2nd in the NFL in catches. Only Jamar Chase has more catches than Brock Bowers right now.
Outrageous.
Wow.
70 catches on the year. He has more catches than Amon-Ra St. Brown. He has more catches than Malik Neighbors, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. This is wild what he's doing.
And tight end's supposed to be the hardest position to learn and notorious. I mean, there's a reason that the only guys who had 1,000 yards as a rookie at tight end were Mike Ditka and Kyle Pitts. It never happens.
And I don't think there's nothing fluky about it either. I think is the one thing I want to say about it is when you watch him run routes, he's separating, he's breaking guys off on routes. They're running ISO stuff to him on the outside. He's lining up in the slot. He gets rushing attempts. He is everything I think we wanted him to be and more. It's awesome to see. He's so much fun just to watch out there.
Austin Gale here at The Ringer tweeted this, and he's a tortured, really sad Raiders fan, and this is the only light in his entire life. but he, like, you know how Puka Nacua obviously broke the record for catches by a rookie last year. Brock Bowers has more catches than Puka Nacua did at this point last season. And he's a tight end. Like, this is like that's not supposed to be a thing. Tight ends, like, generally are not supposed to compete with receivers for any kind of stuff. That's why Kelsey and Kittle were so amazing. Rookie tight ends have like never competed with rookie receivers for anything of any kind. It's actually kind of nuts. So yeah,
he's on pace for 119 catches.
We undersold Bowers because we were burned by Kyle Pitts, but Brock Bowers is, he's what we wanted Tim Tebow and Kyle Pitts to be, and so we should give Brock Bowers his Brock Flowers.
Sure, he has maybe there should be one Flowers in the league, and that's not Zay, it's Brock.
Boom. No, it's Brock Flowers. The other just Oppenheimer. Honestly, it's just the Detroit Lions.
Particularly, I think you have to give it to Goff, who had 412 yards and 4 touchdowns, 35 fantasy points, most on the day by a quarterback. Only fantasy can make you upset at a 400-yard, 4-touchdown performance, because the week prior I lost because I needed like the most average game ever out of Jared Goff, and he threw 5 fucking interceptions. I was texting you guys as this game was unfolding because the first 3 Lions touchdowns were runs, which is typically how it goes in Detroit. It's hard because passing is like an afterthought for this team, and drafting him, Goff's not a mobile guy. He basically needs to throw touchdowns to get you anything.
Or catch them.
Unfortunately, every time they get they're running the ball in, and they're so goddamn good at it, he doesn't ever have to throw.
They run because they can. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're up by too much, and you're like, they don't need to throw. Thank God Dan Campbell likes running up the score, because they basically, Goff got all his points in the second half when they were up 30. So, yeah, I mean, they had a franchise record 647 yards today. They scored 52 points. It's the second time this year they've done that. They had 7 touchdowns on 7 drives.
Craig, I saw this stat from the 33rd team. This was the 3rd most total yards for any team this century, 24 years. 3rd out of 14,000 games. This is the 3rd most yards any team has put up.
I think we're reaching a point with the Lions where it's like, if they don't win the Super Bowl, like this
kind
is
of a
wrong.
disappointment.
Yeah, it's a disappointment. No, it's totally just. I mean, they've never made a Super Bowl, so making the Super Bowl would be the furthest the franchise has ever gone.
I know this is like the ultimate
the
jinx, but like, and I'm sure Lions fans are like, shut up. But like, if this team doesn't win the Super Bowl, I'm going to be pissed.
I mean, they blew a lead to the Niners, who could never come back on anyone for the NFC Championship game. So yeah, they didn't make the Super Bowl. Like, they're the only team that's ever like Shanahan come back from a lead. The other one I saw, the Lions outgained the Jaguars. This is from Michael David Smith at Pro Football Talk. The Lions outgained the Jaguars by 475 yards today. Outgained by 475.
That's wild.
The biggest yardage differential in an NFL game since 1979.
Wow,
that's wild,
crazy.
Yeah, they outgained them by almost 500 yards.
Yeah, that's again. It's really like there was a lot of high school stuff today. Taysom Hill looked like that's a high school thing to see, where a guy like threw passes and like ran for 3 and caught. Like that's and he's playing special teams. Like that's high school stuff. The Lions today, it looked like, I don't know. It's like Georgia playing the Citadel, and they paid him $500,000 to show up for homecoming. Like that's what the Lions game looked like. And yeah, there's so many stats. Like, honestly, a couple more is worth it. The Lions have a rushing touchdown in 24 straight games, the longest streak in NFL history. And their streak of 21 straight regular season games with a rushing touchdown is the longest since the Dolphins in the 70s. And the other one that, because I'm obsessed with these, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the 8th player in the 21st century to have a touchdown in 8 straight games. And the other guys on the list are like Randy Moss, AJ Green, Antonio Gates, Devontae Adams, Antonio Brown, Wes Welker, etc.
Hall of Famers.
All of Famers.
Well, maybe not Wes Welker, but yeah.
So, yeah, well, RIP. On that note, just while we're here, it is so over for Doug Peterson and the Jaguars, because there were like reports before the game that if the Jaguars got blown out.
There were reports before the game if the Jaguars get outgained by the most yards ever, then he might get fired.
If they're outgained by 500 yards, Doug Peterson will be fired, and it's 475. So we're on the,
he's like, all right,
we're at the edge of our seats.
If they lose to this team, he's getting fired. No, it's the worst loss of all time.
And no, it is the worst. Literally, like it's the worst loss in Jags
blowout.
I don't know if we even said the score. The Jaguars lost this game 52-6.
Ugh.
They lost 52-6. It is the worst loss in Jaguars history. Do you know how many games the Jacksonville Jaguars have lost? So many. This was like the worst one.
The worst quarterback in Browns history.
Yeah, it's like the worst. It can always get worse, kids. Anyway, I don't think it's like super interesting necessarily that Doug Peterson's going to get fired and all this stuff. Honestly, he's probably been fired by the time a lot of people are listening. I think the real question is, I think that this is the favorite for Bill Belichick to be the head coach next year.
You think he wants to go there?
Yes. Stephen Ruiz has been on this.
In Florida.
I think he's dead on. No, I don't. I think that it has the three things you want if you're Belichick.
Quarterback,
Trevor
control.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
Control. That's not exactly. It's underrated how much and this is what I think Steven nailed. The Jaguars owner is willing to just let the Jaguars owner, like, it's not like other owners. He made his fortune like selling bumpers for cars. It's incredible. And now he has some super yacht, but like he gives total control to a guy.
I gotta
Tom
get into
Coughlin.
Great.
I just feel so. I know he sells
I was
bumpers.
like, what? I'm doing the wrong job.
To Toyota. Just sells bumpers to
sell
Toyota.
Bumpers.
I know. But like Tom Coughlin got total control of the Jaguars. And then Urban Meyer got total control of the Jaguars. Like he likes the idea of like a celebrity successful person just running it and like they're in charge.
I don't hate it. Let's do this.
Yeah. So I kind of think it'll be Belichick.
Do you think
they're going to hire him mid-season? Sorry, Craig.
No, they honestly, I mean, the GMs have been high. The Browns hired John Dorsey back in the day in December. So like part of me thinks Belichick would want to get a job. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he'd want more money, but like he probably would want to interview with the Giants if they in C. But like, I think the Jags
one
are the
piece
best
of
team.
context for this whole thing too is the owner, Shad Khan, said at the beginning of the season, this is the best team we've ever assembled, or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing.
Most talented, Jaguars history.
That's tough.
Just brutal.
Well, are the Jags?
Woody Johnson said that about the Jets.
Yikes!
Oh God, yeah.
Are
Don't
the
say
Jags
stuff
going to
like
go
that.
to London? Is that supposed to happen ever? Is Belichick's
I don't
not
think so.
moving to London?
Not full time. No.
Before COVID, there was a plan that the Jaguars were going to be a bi-continental team, and they were going to do 4 home games in Jacksonville, and they were going to do 4 home games in London, and they were going to be like they were going to be like the toehold for the NFL in Europe for potential expansion. And the NFL ultimately did want a team in London, and in their wildest dreams, they wanted one in Germany. And then COVID just totally threw that out the window, and so the Jags are going to be in Jacksonville. But that's why they do the 2 games there. It's like the remnants of that plan. But the Jags were going to be like this, like the London Jaguars, basically. But yeah, Belichick not going to do that. Anthony Richardson and Caleb Williams had these 2 drives side by side. I want to start with Caleb Williams. This game was nuts. But DK, what did you think of Caleb Williams and the Bears? I mean, the ending was a little nuts because.
I mean, to be clear, the Bears should have won on a last-second field goal. I think it was like 30 or 40-something yards, and it got blocked by the Packers. Great play by the Packers. Obviously, you have to make the hike or whatever, not hike, the snap. You have to make the snap. You have to hold it. You have to kick it right. Like it's not automatic.
But you know why the guy missed? You know why that kick was blocked, right?
Because the ghosts were out there making X's with their little tootsies, their toes.
We got a lot of emails about that, Heifetz.
Yeah,
goddamn right.
So good job if you were not a Bears fan today.
Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com if you made the little X with your toes in front of an important field goal and then it was blocked and now you believe in like a higher power of the universe. Welcome to the club. It happens.
But apart from that, I thought this was like night and day better for Caleb Williams than how he had been playing, especially the last like 3 weeks.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, DK. Can I just read various subject lines from the ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com inbox right now?
I got a bunch of tweets about it.
I'm just going to read the subject lines.
People won't shut up about this.
From Matthew. Proof that Heifetz is a genius.
Proof.
Heifetz field goal X wins the Packer game. The toe X really works.
What about the people making X's for Chris Boswell to miss? That didn't work out.
Yeah.
John says the X foot thing worked. Heifetz superstition works. Kicker hex works. Field goal hex works. Field goal X works. Superstitions work. Anyway, sorry. God. That's literally, those are all there right now. Sorry. What were you saying, DK, about your nihilism and no higher power?
Whatever. I'll just accept it. Maybe it does work. No, but back to Caleb Williams. I thought he played like it was a night and day difference in terms of his poise, his confidence. His accuracy was quite a bit better. I think the big thing was with Thomas Brown, this new offensive coordinator. The game plan, you could tell immediately, was get the ball out of his hands quickly. Like, we don't want you holding it and like running around, trying to make too big of a play. We're trying to take a little bit off your shoulders and just run the offense and do that thing. And that's exactly what they did. I saw this from Next Gen Stats. Caleb Williams' time to throw this week was 2.4 seconds, which was the second fastest. Only Tua was faster, and Tua gets rid of the ball so quick, as you know. Half a second faster per throw than his average this year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's like a massive number if you think about like the extra beat that it takes for like a pass rusher to get to him and sack him. Like that's huge. So I thought the game plan was really good. I thought they played pretty well. They executed for the most part. He took a couple sacks, but like, you know, I thought overall they played well. And especially late, they made a couple of huge plays to get down there, to get into field goal range, and what they should have won the game. Like it should have been a huge celebration, you know, for Caleb Williams beating the Packers. Like that would have been a huge rivalry win. But of course, the kick got blocked. So on third down, I saw this from Christian D'Andrea. 10 of 12 passing on third and fourth down, 4 first downs, and 4 carries for 40 yards and 4 first downs. He also did a lot with his legs, which I thought was a huge change, and not a huge change, but like a good focal point for them to like use your legs to like get first downs, like keep people honest. So, you know, overall, I think it was really encouraging, and I'm not like freaking out anymore as much about Caleb Williams as I was the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Shane Waldron sucked at his job, didn't he?
This is always the reaction I have is like, how bad were you at your job? Like, how bad were you?
What do
Because
you
this
think
was
he
like
did
night and
today?
day difference.
What do you think he was doing? You know that feeling? If you,
Fishing,
you know when,
maybe?
You know when
I
like
don't know.
one of us is like on vacation or something and the other two do the pod, and then you listen back while you're on a plane, you're on vacation, you're doing whatever, and you're like, oh, wow, they're pretty good without me. They were good today. That's not the best feeling in the world. I feel like that is like times 1,000 as a football coach, and you leave, and the second you leave, your team looks
I
10
think
times
about
better.
this all the time with
That's tough.
like honestly, I don't know if this is a word you could say, but like it's like being cucked. Like I think all the time about
God.
how DeMar DeRozan must have felt when like he spent 10 years in Toronto, and then Kawhi Leonard goes there for like 2 months and then just like immediately wins the NBA Finals with the exact same team that DeMar DeRozan has. And I'm like, what were you doing for the entire 6 weeks of the finals? Like just not watching basketball or being on the internet? Like what the fuck were you doing? I'm like, yeah, I think it's actually probably brutal that to watch like everything be better without you, as everyone just it's like you're Jack Sparrow being left on the island and the ship sails off without you, and they're like, yeah, no, good, hope you don't drown, well, we're all happier without you, bye. Like it's awful.
It's a tough feeling. Tough feeling, I can imagine.
Sucks.
Yeah,
Probably a horrible profession. No, but I will say the flip side, I really feel like this was like a wine pairing game with the multi-view, and shout out YouTube TV, because you had Caleb driving for what should have been a game-winning, for his purposes, it was a game-winning drive. And then Anthony Richardson was side by side. The Colts went and won 28-27. They beat the Jets. And Anthony Richardson,
again, night and day.
Learned from the bench. Looked like he did great. His 11th NFL start, which is incredible. I believe that's also what Caleb Williams has. Am I wrong? Like 11 NFL starts? Like 10
maybe?
10? So
10 or
Anthony
11,
Richardson,
I can't remember. Yeah.
number 3 quarterback on the day for fantasy, basically tied with Bo Nix for second. 20 of 30 completions. So that's 2/3,
That's great.
baby.
Hell yeah.
270 plus yards, a touchdown. Richardson ran 10 times, 2 touchdowns on the ground, including the game-winning drive. He had Alec Pierce on the sideline with a whole shot. Then he hit Josh Downs, and then he ran it in for the win. Absolutely smashed, I believe it was Jalen Mills in the end zone.
Yeah.
And he was so, like, the poise was back. There was way more touch, I think, on his passes. Now, he still rips
He
them,
missed
but,
a
like,
few, but like he was just way more poised for sure.
poised, rhythm, touch, and then also still as a runner, like destroying people. He still had those like things where you're like, oh yeah, this guy is like the closest we've seen to Josh Allen.
He looked
Cam
like
Newton
last year. Yeah, like this is why people were so excited about him coming into the season, even though he only had like 4 games or whatever it was last year. Yeah, he looked like under control and in control of the game and in control of the offense. So much more than he had at any point really this season. It was a night and day difference. So whatever it is they did during the few weeks off, like it worked so far.
Easily the most composed game of his career.
Yeah, it's almost like when
also the
incredibly
Jets,
talented quarterbacks play poorly for a month. It's like maybe it's the really weird teams with the weird owners that are screwing them up, perhaps. So I hope you added Anthony Richardson. We suggested that on Monday. I hope you added him, and if not, go get him because he's fantastic.
Well, like 28 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Not shabby.
My we're so back. You guys, Brat summer is over, and now it might be time for Breece fall because
God,
we might be so back with Breece. The Jets may have lost by 1 today to the Colts, but Breece, best fantasy day of the year, kind of back-to-back. Big games here. I think he was the RB3 on the day, maybe RB2 on the day. 120 yards, 2 scores. Today was the first game of the 2024 season where I thought Breece Hall had a good play. And it was his 20-yard touchdown run. I was like, wow.
Craig's like a withholding father. He's like, yeah, finally had a good play, I see, son.
I'm giving Breece the Paul Hollywood handshake today.
Oh, nice.
For the first time. The 20-yard run, he actually showed burst, speed. He reached the ball out over the pylon. I was like, that is what I had spent $55 on in August. And you know what? More importantly, what I liked is that when he scored, he showed emotion. He was pounding his chest. He actually celebrated.
He heard you.
Usually it looks like he's being forced to play against his will out there. So
it's like a hostage.
Yeah, he honestly does. So
if you guys could rank if you could rank like, or if you, in your dreams, if you were playing the NFL, what would be like the top thing that you could do other than like in the postseason? Like, because obviously winning a Super Bowl would be like number one, but like individual plays. I think for me, diving from like the 5-yard line and just sticking the ball out over the pylon has to be up there. Obviously, making like a one-handed catch, that sounds cool too. But like for whatever reason, I feel like diving into the end zone and just like barely getting the ball over the pylon is like the coolest thing you can do.
I want to do what Anthony Richardson did do, which is truck a motherfucker through the goal line to win a football game.
The Marshawn Lynch like face like stiff arm in the face and bless them down to the ground, I think is a good thing. Like put them all the way onto the ground. I want to do that.
I would want to do the DK Metcalf Buda Baker chase an interception down from across the field for a 90-yard sprint to take someone down and save a touchdown and win the game. That would
30-second video that like 25 seconds of it. It's just like, is that the most athletic person in the world?
I think Craig at 499 could easily do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should make a list of that. We should power rank that at some time. Send us like the best thing you can do. Yeah.
Or email with the coolest thing. Or
email.
Just do a poll. Yeah, email us what you think the coolest thing you can do in a football.
Why not both?
Oh, yeah, Porcinolos. Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com what you think the coolest thing you can do in a football field is. Obviously in basketball. Obviously everyone wants to dunk. So like it's just for football.
What's the most like
you don't think it's dunk, Craig?
Well,
everyone wants to dunk in an NBA
everyone
game.
wants to make
that's
threes
definitely
now.
true. But
All
I think like if you could pick one moment, I think it would be like the Steph Olympics 3, I feel like is what you want. That's the moment you want to feel, right? It's like a buzzer beater 3.
Yeah. Well, and that led to everyone's doing the night. Gino did the night. Steph did the night at the Olympics. I don't know if he did it before, but that was definitely the moment where everyone started.
That's like his signature, isn't it?
Steph has been doing that.
Steph, no, I know he's been doing that. Yes. But did anyone else copy him until like when he did that at the Olympics? Now it's everywhere in every sport.
I feel like it's in the culture.
That was Steph's thing. And now it's like everyone's doing it.
They translated it to French on the sweatshirts. It said like Nuit Nuit because he did it in France. I was thinking about the night.
Because he did it in France.
The French. I think night is this was in my intrusive thoughts. I think night is the best sports celebration of the century.
Wow.
I tried to think of the other ones. There's the Gronk Spike. Because it can't just be something somebody has done once, right? It needs to be like a signature thing. No, it needs to be
iconic.
Something that they did like at a key moment.
Like Jefferson with the gritty, where it's part of it becomes in the water.
The gritty. I think there's a couple in contention. I think the Usain Bolt doing the lightning thing, the lightning bolt thing is cool, but it's like he's not doing it enough. You're not really seeing him that often.
Yes, once every couple years.
Right. Tiger Woods fist bump, I think is the number 2, but it's a fist pump. It's like everybody does a fist pump. It is iconic. He kind of does it from like, it's an interesting fist pump, but.
Craig, this came up today. What about the Marshawn Lynch hold my nuts?
Oh yeah, James Williams did the whole. But here's the thing: how many contexts are you like jumping in air? It's a very small group of people who get to do that.
See, I think there's an extra layer to night because it's
James Williams like hold my dick, hold my dick. That's like that's what everyone wants to do. What are we talking?
Everyone's changed my mind. That's how I want to.
Outrun someone by so much that you can turn around, jump backward for the game-winning touchdown, and be like, hold my dick.
Yeah, literally Jameson Williams doing that today. Do you think like he knew? Was that his plan? Like if I have a long touchdown today, I'm doing that, or did that just?
I like
come
to
up
think
in
it
the
came
moment?
to him in the moment.
Well, actually, Ian Rappaport tweeted this morning that if the Jaguars fell behind by exactly 46 points and Jameson Williams made eye contact with Doug Peterson while shouting "Hold my dick" for a touchdown,
he'd get fired.
He'd be fired. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So.
Damn, maybe it is hold my dick. Maybe night second. That is so good.
So hold my dick. So yeah, really, we should give Marshawn Lynch his flowers.
Dude, they used to flag him for doing the hold my dick thing.
Yeah, because he's grabbing his penis.
Who cares?
Who cares, dude?
That's not a flag. What is a flag? It's not exactly.
We should be rewarding him.
We
should be giving him his flowers.
Give him more yards. Yeah, give him more points.
The hold my dick thing came from like arguably one of the best runs of all time.
Yeah.
It was at the end of the Beast Quake. The fact that it just came to him in that moment of like you know what I mean? It's like that
actually.
Was, oh god, everything about that was the fucking coolest.
So
I will say the night at the end of the like to win the gold. That's pretty fucking like sick too. But
email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com for what we're forgetting. This is a really good conversation.
Yeah.
What is the best celebration?
Steph did it. Steph doing it against the Celtics when in the finals in 22 was pretty iconic. I like it because it's like it's up to Steph when he deploys it, and it's like when he feels like he knows the game is over, you know? It's just like so demoralizing to just see the guy on the other team be like, I'm putting you to bed now, go to sleep.
it's like the new equivalent of warm up the bus.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember?
Well, Jamar
Chase do that in high school. Warm up the bus.
Well, the new one, Jamar Chase. Steph Curry has to put you tonight. Jamar Chase wiped like changed the diaper on the football when he scored tonight. Like he wiped the football's ass, which is
when they were losing.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
I was trying to think of more of the iconic celebrations, and you can't. I feel like you have to mention Michael Jordan.
Well, that's why I went 21st century because I think Dikembe's finger wag is up there. That's pretty.
Yeah,
dope.
that was for sure.
The finger wag. I mean, that lingered until like that was a commercial about that like 20 years later.
Michael Jordan doing like the when he was like on fire and he just kind of like shrugged.
Yeah.
That one, and then when he hit the game winner over Craig Elo and like jumped up and like did the flying fist pump.
Yeah, but that was like a moment. That's not like a Jordan thing. That was
like
a Jordan
celebration.
No one else ever
signature.
Did that. And knock on wood, but I don't know what will happen if Steph does that and they end up blowing the lead. That hasn't happened yet. And then I don't know if it has to go away for like years. But
that's
I
think that's up to his.
He's
discretion.
got a perfect record right now, and you got to really choose wisely when you deploy that.
Yeah, and while we're here,
okay,
because we haven't spent enough time on this. Tom Brady, the most milquetoast part of that motherfucker's legacy is that his defining thing that is now everywhere in all white male culture is let's fucking go. Like that's our whole thing. Is like that's the most boring, edgeless, sexless thing that could just be like every. And now it's like every white man. Anytime you do anything athletic, it's like, dude, let's fucking go. And it's like it's all from Brady. And honestly, it's so boring. And like we really could do so much better than like let's fucking go. It's
That's a good call. That's a good call. Even Gronk, he just like spikes the ball really hard, which is like it's all people have been spiking the ball for 100 years.
Yeah. Well, that's on brand.
Really
there's not much going on.
Yeah, but the way he does it is pretty satisfying.
It's sick. It's like it's kind of like
he's just so long.
He like doesn't bend his arm. It's almost like a windmill dunk.
Yeah,
fucking
Gronk when he does it, I actually think he expects to create a crater in the ground. My entire life, anytime I like change the paper towel, we keep the paper towels in my house, like my parents' house in the garage. And if I would ever get them, I will throw them to my mom and my mom will do the Gronk spike with the paper towels. Like that's like our thing.
That is
so yeah.
And then you yell, let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Yeah, it's just the lamest thing ever. That is lame. Thing. Anyway, okay.
I think it's all right.
Any other intrusive thoughts while we're here?
Yeah, actually, unless you guys don't have any, I have a couple.
Please.
I think Juwan Jennings is the best skill player on the Niners.
More than McCaffrey?
Right now, yes.
Sure.
I bet they wish they had not paid Ayuk. I bet they wish they had traded him to the Steelers.
He's been the best player on the team.
They tried to, didn't they?
He showed up at the facility and Shannon ran upstairs and talked John Lynch out of it. I mean, honestly, that's like a cool story when then Ayuk's good. And then you look at the season and you're like, maybe that's like an extremely emotional way to look at this like drawn out negotiation.
I know.
I still think Ayuk is good, but I think Jennings has always been sneaky, really good.
He's awesome. He had 10 catches today, 91 yards and a touchdown. He is their go-to third down guy. He plays super hard. He's like fighting for every first down. Like he brings this team like emotion. One of the more fun players to watch in the league right now. I think he's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But just watching this game, I was like, it feels like Purdy, if he could give the ball to anybody, kind of feels like he wants to give it to Juwan.
He trusts him. Third and Juwan.
Yeah. Third and Juwan.
I have an intrusive thought. So I don't know. This is not really an intrusive thought. I just thought of it today and I thought it was fun. The Chiefs lost, so there's no more undefeated teams. So of course the tradition is all the members of the 72 Dolphins get to like pop champagne and like, drink to being the only team ever that went undefeated in a whole season. I think that this doesn't happen enough. I think we need to have more teams celebrating when their records aren't broken. Because right now I feel like it's like the I don't know, the way that it happens is like people are supposed to be gracious and like say, oh, good job, you broke my record, blah, blah, blah. It's a new era. I think people should be pissed about it.
Oh,
and they should like be really mean to the players trying to break their records. And
like
do anything
when
they
LeBron
can.
broke the scoring record and Kareem was like very politely sitting in the front row pretending that he wasn't furious.
Should be just fucking
Like,
pissed.
Yeah, it's like he should have not shut up and just like live streamed
I
it.
kind of just like that the Dolphins are still like celebrating this, and like it's a big deal to them to have this record, and they're popping champagne when no one breaks it. I think people should be more upset and angry and like fight with people about it a little bit more instead of trying to be like a good sport about it.
I love this.
Stop
and, like,
being a good sport is what I'm
Michael
saying.
Jordan, once again, should be the non-role model here. Give him his flowers for like, he should just actively root against LeBron every time in the playoffs. I wish Michael Jordan actively rooted against LeBron in all playoff contexts.
like loudly and publicly. Yeah.
Yeah.
so DK, like whichever MLB player has the most consecutive games played streak alive at the in right now, Cal Ripken should just like try to Tanya Harding that guy just to keep his streak alive.
Yeah. 100%.
Just like anyone who throws a beer bottle at this dude is like, yeah, it's on me.
I mean, Cal Ripken, no one's ever fucking catching Cal Ripken, but yeah, I think that's the right example. Take out his knees or something,
I have one more intrusive thought from today.
What's up?
So the Falcons got destroyed today by the Broncos. I think it was like 38-6. And they brought in Michael Penix for the last quarter. He threw 4 passes. And kind of just like their GM, Terry Fontenot, in the preseason after one game, I was like, once again, I've seen all I need. I've seen all I need to see. Like, dude, he went 2 for 4, and I was like, this guy.
I love it when Craig has seen all he needs to see.
Yeah.
That's my favorite moment.
This guy has it. Like, he literally threw like one 15-yard pass, another deep ball, looked great, and I was like, man.
Yeah.
Every time I watch this guy,
I'm in.
The national championship wasn't great. The 2 games before that, Oregon and Texas, he looked incredible. Preseason, he looked great. Like the 10 minutes they let him play, and then he's throwing 4 passes in the NFL, and I'm like, this guy's got it. I'm like, one more bad game out of Kirk, and I'm like, Michael Penix is going to take this team to the promised land.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, honestly, my intrusive thought was like similar, where it's just, I always make fun of, no offense to many of our NBA colleagues, but I feel like there was this thing a lot of times like years ago where it's like the league is in good hands with all like the young player. Dude, the NFL is in good hands. Do you know how many there are so many good quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Josh Allen is amazing. Drake May, I think, is going to be really good. And then Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud. I think Anthony Richardson looked good today.
All of the rookies, the 5 first rounders from last year's class are all pretty good.
Bo Nix.
Yes.
Bo Nix. Dude, Bo Nix. The Broncos.
He's unbeatable.
The Broncos had me feeling nicey. I will shout out. I mean, I think I'll give, Sean Payton, give him his flowers, give him whatever the hell he wants. But yeah, 38-6. Bo Nix, 4 passing touchdowns, 5 incompletions versus 4 touchdowns.
Damn.
307 yards. I don't know what this stat means. Anything? Second rookie quarterback with 4 straight home games of 200 yards and multiple touchdown passes. The only other one's Peyton Manning. I don't think that means anything, but it's just a list of Peyton Manning and Bo Nix as rookies, which blew my fucking mind.
It's too bad he's so old he has to retire in a few years, because then he could be really something.
Yeah, I know. Boomer Bo. I will say it's crazy that Justin Herbert's like 2 years older than Bo Nix. Having said that, Bo Nix is playing great. The Broncos are legit. But the Broncos, we'll get to them later this week too, because the Broncos is playing fantastic. But yeah, it is insane. Every rookie quarterback's good. And then last year, Richardson looked good and Stroud looked good. Like that right there, that's 8 quarterbacks. That's a quarter of the league.
That's a lot. That's important. Yeah.
A quarter of the league has been quarterbacked in the last 2 drafts. And then if you look at Mahomes is 29. I think Josh Allen's 28. I think that Lamar Jackson's 27. Burrow's 28. Justin Herbert's 26. Like half the league is like, I don't know. It's an incredible time.
There's also like a middle class now too in NFL quarterbacks, like Geno, Mayfield.
Yes.
I'm missing a couple, I'm sure, but like
Bryce Young.
No. Yeah, sure. I mean, they have won 2 games in a row, right? So
Carlos is out here. I know Carlos is screaming that nobody's mentioned Tua.
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 Yeah.
He's like that. You know that meme of everyone huddling up and someone's talking and then you turn around and just like the thumb? You just go back. Like I feel like that's every time we talk about
If
the
you,
Dolphins.
by the way, if you did not see the video that Carlos put together about Tua on our socials, you got to go find it immediately.
Yeah.
Either on TikTok, Instagram, or I put up on Twitter, or Heifetz did. I mean, go watch it. It's brilliant.
It's great. Okay. So then, we mentioned. I'm going to
Jordan
rename
Love.
this the Hollywood handshake.
Forgot about
The
him.
Hollywood handshake play of the day, where we mentioned the Josh Allen run for the 4th and 2. The Packers blocking a field goal to like just walk off blocking a field goal, which I don't know. I feel like that has to just be it anytime that happens. The Peyton Wilson, the Steelers interception where Justice Hill caught a pass that was then stolen from him.
It was a strip pick.
The strip pick. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was
Rookie,
really,
too. I mean,
the Jameson Williams, Marshawn Lynch, hold my dick impression. Not play of the day, but Stafford's touchdown pass to Colby Parkinson was disgusting.
Stafford cooked today.
Stafford was outrageous.
He was very
Stafford
good today.
just like low-key, I think the LA has the 2 best throwing quarterbacks right now. Like Stafford and Herbert, just the throws they have are outrageous.
Yeah. I think if you had to pick a winner here, I feel like if you factor in the stakes, it's got to be the Josh Allen run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to just shout out the Packers blocked a potential winning or tying field goal in the final play of the game. The only other time they've done this was November 26th of 1939 versus the Cleveland Rams.
I can't believe that
That doesn't even count.
I can't believe they know that. Like that's on
I know.
record still. They
I
just
know.
like that's written. That was written down on a piece of.
Literally a piece of paper.
Scrolls.
The Rams,
The
and
Dead
of course,
Sea Scrolls.
so of course I went to the 1939 Rams page where they also that season played the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Pittsburgh
Baseball.
Pirates, and the
Baseball.
Chicago Cardinals.
Right.
And I found
Bunch
out
of
that there was a
5'8"
guy on
second
this
baseman.
thing named
175.
Dude, and there was a guy on this team. I was going through the names, and there was a guy whose last name was McRaven. I was like, McRaven. I've heard of
That's a
McRaven.
cool last name.
Wasn't he the head of the U.S. like Joint Command, like the head of
He's
the
like a
Joint Chiefs or
general.
whatever?
Yeah.
So I look it up. Yep, that's his dad.
No
Wow.
shit.
Yep.
His dad?
Yep,
Wow.
that's his father. Was just like, yep, Air Force pilot on the whatever Pittsburgh Pirates or Cleveland
course.
Rams in 1939, and then his sons. Anyway, they're all yeah. It's just always like that. Worst play of the day. We mentioned it's all the Steelers things. I think it's George Pickens stepping out of bounds.
No way.
Or-
It's Fields sliding on a game-winning first down. What are you talking about?
or Russ throwing the pick in the end zone up 5, or George Pickens perhaps signaling a first down as he passed the line of scrimmage. Who knows?
All
It
good
was the
plays.
Steelers.
8-2.
It was definitely Fields.
He's 100% Fields.
Coach, who pissed you off? I think the Bears not trying to make the field goal closer. I think that was tough. Matt Eberflus
Yeah.
running
the
the
best.
clock down on 3rd down and just kicking on 3rd. And they had a timeout. Make it 3 yards. Get a 3-yard run. Honestly, kick probably isn't blocked. So tough
I
one
know.
there.
It really sucks that the Bears lost that game just because they could have had such good vibes and momentum going to, like they could have like had this feeling of rebirth, and now it's like they've lost 4 straight. Such like they really got to overcome that missed kick despite the team actually playing well.
Yeah.
Packers have beat the Bears 11 straight times, which is the longest in the history of the rivalry, and the rivalry is over 100 years old. So that's tough. Worst referee moment. I actually think the refs were fine today, other than Craig yelling. I think the refs just the end of the
Other
first,
than the entire 2-minute drill for the Chargers, the
the
rest were
2-minute
great.
drill for the
What the fuck
Chargers was outrageous. And if it had happened to, frankly, if what happened to the Chargers in the end of that first half had happened to the Chiefs, it is all we would be talking about on Monday. Is like it would be an entire news cycle about the state of officiating if the Chiefs had been the beneficiary of that. It was actually ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Worst Netflix boxing event between a former heavyweight champ and a YouTuber. I had Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. What did you have, DK?
Yeah, that one too. I agree.
Oh,
I agree.
interesting. You had that one? Okay. I had Mayweather versus Mr. Beast. That
It was-
sucked.
Yes. It was awful. The Tyson Paul thing, it was weird because the undercards were really, I don't know if you guys watched. They said 60 million people watched. I feel like that's kind of,
I did the thing where I watched
I thought they said
vicariously
90.
through
I thought it was
Twitter.
90 million people. Was it 60?
but it's like, it's a different thing. It's like a different way they measure. I'm sure that 90 million people clicked on it at some point, but I don't know what that means.
There was a lot of problems with Netflix, from what I understand, not like buffering or whatever.
So mine buffered so bad I didn't realize it because it was on my phone because it was so boring between the fights. And I looked up and I was 20 minutes behind the whole time and didn't realize it. And it was blissful. And then I looked up on the internet and everyone was pissed about how the buffering. And I was like, I didn't have any of those problems because I was 20 minutes late.
What was your general? What was the strongest emotion that you had watching a 58-year-old Mike Tyson lose to a YouTuber guy?
I constantly felt a cycle of I feel really stupid for having watched this to Mike fucking knock him out though. That would be so God. I want to hit him so fucking hard. And then he can't. His legs don't work. That's how you punch people. You can't. His legs don't work. And then the entirety of the run up, they were like, Mike Tyson still got it. And then in the middle of the fight, they're like, he's 58. What did you expect, you morons watching? You idiots who tuned in. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I feel bamboozled. And then I remembered this didn't cost pay-per-view money. It was literally free because I already paid for Netflix.
Right.
And then I'm like, I guess I didn't really have been had. And Craig, you're the one who studies Hollywood and stuff. But I actually think everyone's like, oh, this is a fumble for Netflix because everyone's mad. I don't know. I feel like actually everyone now watched live sports on Netflix and Hulu paid a whole fucking 5 years of advertising money to be like, watch live sports on Hulu. No one ever watched live sports on Hulu. Now people know that you click on Netflix for Christmas and it's a giant commercial for the football games and it probably worked.
Yeah, they're just testing stuff out to see if because they're going to do live WWE and they're going to do live football. So this is just
it's like, you know what they can't have drop out Netflix for? The Chiefs Steelers game on Christmas Day. That would be a catastrophe because they paid $1 billion for that.
Yeah, this is just selling ad. I mean, look, Netflix wants to sell ads now. That's why they're doing live TV. And this is all great for Netflix, even though it was like a shitty experience, I'm sure. I was actually at like a different work event. I was at like a Puck thing that Matt and Puck was doing, so I didn't see it at all. When I logged on Twitter, everybody was just saying "fuck Netflix," and I feel bad for Mike Tyson. And I watched the highlights, and it was sad. I had the same thought as you, Heifetz. I was like, "This is lame and stupid in a clickbait event." But man, it would be so awesome if Mike Tyson just knocked the fuck out of Jake Paul.
But if he hits him in the face, I'll be so happy. I'm like, I can't miss it. That was the thing. What if he knocks him out and I wasn't watching? I'll be crushed.
So did they show Mike Tyson in the locker room after the fight or before?
Oh my God, his ass. Okay. So
the
butt was even weirder. The butt, it's the rare thing where it's weirder than it looked online. Okay. So his son was like imagine if Jack Collinsworth was interviewing Chris Collinsworth. That's what it was.
He was playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like Mike Tyson's son was like the sideline reporter before the fight. And so Mike Tyson's son is interviewing Mike Tyson and he gets nothing out of him, which was hilarious. It's like,
Collinsworth, by the way, is 7 years older than Tyson.
Yeah. So it would be like if Chris Collinsworth was playing in the Super Bowl this year.
And imagine if Collinsworth was playing in the Super Bowl.
He would look in the
and the Chiefs signed Chris Collinsworth this year. Yeah.
And imagine if Jack Collinsworth's interviewing Chris Collinsworth and gets nothing of any substance out of him whatsoever. And then Mike Tyson gets no answers, and then he turns around and he has assless chaps on, like he's just pure ass, and he walks away.
He was wearing a fucking jockstrap,
and everyone's shocked. And then they kept replaying it later, which was bizarre. Like I thought, like at Netflix, I don't know what the laws are. I think
it was brilliantly shot. I think it was on purpose, and it was hilarious.
It just it was
he
really
just
weird.
Walks off, and it was just his ass. Felt like I was watching a movie.
Can we just say also? Tonight, Collinsworth was like floating in his own orgasmic, euphoric fluid watching Herbert and Burrow. Every throw, before you could just hear him like into the microphone, like.
I think it's like, I love it when he does like the guttural things. Speaking of the beast mode, the Beastquake play from the Seahawks in like 2010 when they played the Saints. Marshawn Lynch also had a Beastquake run against the Cardinals in like 2014 or 15 or whatever year it was. I can't remember. And I still remember this so vividly. Halfway through the run, Collinsworth goes, "Ha-ha!" And it's just like, I'm like, something good is going to happen when Collinsworth is like, "Oh, yeah." Like
just making sounds.
Nothing better than like when like Burrow escapes the pass rush and hits like a 10-yard out. Collinsworth's like,
Mike. And it's funny because like Collinsworth's like, "Ooh," and Romo's are like, Romo's like,
what? The league is in good hands, Mike.
Oh my God.
I think it's good, man. He gets you into the game. Like this is what Brady and like the new broadcasters should be like striving for, I think, personally. Like I thought Brady was actually a little bit better today, by the way.
Brady stinks. Come on.
Oh, I thought he was a little bit better. I don't think he's great.
Great call, JB. Stroud gets out, rolls out there, and sees Dalton Schultz, makes the connection. That's a great play there, JB. Great call. What? You're the best quarterback ever. I could have done that. Yeah, just sees that he's open there down the seam. Great throw by Caleb Williams. I really think he's going to develop into a great quarterback in this league. Great call, JB.
That is such a good. We should have someone who doesn't know anything about football listen to all the color commentators. Be like, which one of these was the greatest player in the history of the sport? And they're like, oh, Greg Olson, obviously, right?
Right, yeah.
Brady's last, yeah.
Who is the best commentator in the game right now, or whatever? What do you call it? Commentator?
I think Collinsworth is the best mix
color guy. Yeah,
Collinsworth's the best mix of informative and entertainment. Greg Olson is the best information, and Mark Sanchez is good too.
I still think Collinsworth is really good. I think Romo's having a really good year. I think he stepped up his game because Brady joined. But I think the best.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's true. He's trying.
That's funny.
And then I think in terms of chemistry, I do like Aikman and Nance as a duo.
Aikman has gone way up a notch because Troy
Aikman and Buck
is love Joe
Aikman
Buck
and Buck, not Nance. Yeah,
Troy Aikman is now old enough where he gives no shits about his relationship with any other people.
He's finally taking off the gloves or whatever. Yeah.
A real pitfall is that because you spend all week talking to these guys that you don't want to criticize them, and Troy Aikman just doesn't fucking care anymore. And I like when you're the Peyton Manning in you where you can't physically hide your disgust for mistakes. I love that. Lucille Bluth, I don't understand the stat line. I won't respond to it. DK.
Marcus Valdes-Scantling. Once again, 2 catches, 87 yards and a touchdown. He is the wide receiver 3 over the last 2 weeks in fantasy on a 14% target rate. I saw this from Ian Hartitz. Most receiving yards in the NFL over the last 2 weeks is Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, and MVS. So that's I'm going to refuse to acknowledge that.
Yeah, no acknowledgement.
Yeah. Mine is that Jameis Winston threw for 400 yards and no interceptions, and they scored 14 points.
When you said that, Craig, I was like, what the hell did happen? I had to go dig into it.
Sounds impossible.
They had 4 quasi turnovers in this game. They had 2 turnovers on downs and 2 missed field goals. And that's why they scored 14 points.
Yeah. Also, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out Nick Westbrook-Akine with a 98-yard touchdown today. His 5th touchdown in 6 games. Is he the new Alan Lazard? I don't know who he is, but this guy's delivering every week.
I could see that.
Yeah.
It's like best friends with Will Levis.
Yeah.
I just want to shout out that Aaron Rodgers, his winning percentage as Jet starter is 27%, which is worse than the winning percentage for Sam Darnold or Zach Wilson.
It can get worse.
I got that from
worse.
I got that from Steve Palazzolo, 33rd team. I think that's actually genuinely a black mark on Rodgers' record. And it will.
He wants to come back next year, though, guys.
I actually think the Jets. This is a whole thing we'll have to talk about another time. I think the Jets are going to have to cut Aaron Rodgers. I think he will have to be released, and he will have to see. Because here's the thing: I kind of want. Bill always talks about how Michael Jordan kind of wanted to keep playing basketball, but no one planned for him to be available, and then he just never got to play, so he retired after the second Bulls run. I kind of think that's going to happen to Rodgers because I think Rodgers is going to want to play. Everyone's done with the experience because how could you watch this Jets thing and sign up for it? Again, worse than Zach Wilson and Darnold, but I think that if you're the Jets, do you double down and pay him and pay Devontae and pay these people, or do you clean your hands?
You draft a guy and then he'll come back and win 2 straight MVPs.
That's actually a good idea.
You got to light a fire under his ass. He's too coddled in New York.
Do that.
Just a miscommunication there, KB, with Devontae Adams. Great quarterback. I still think Aaron Rodgers can be a great quarterback in this league. Great call there, KB.
He does kind of have he kind of yells a little. It's like a half yell. Why does he talk like that?
That's another, yeah, you're right too. Because for someone who's one of the most famous people in the world, he does sound like he's never talked into a microphone in his entire life.
It's like the Ricky Bobby with his hands, but it's just speaking on mic.
Yes.
Just a sloppy route there by Garrett Wilson there, KB. Great call.
Oh, my God.
I was saying JB for a while. It's KB, right? Kevin Burkhardt.
Yeah. 2 tight ends who outscored Jalen Waddle in a lie.
God, Waddle, I got to let the people know I benched his ass this week.
You benched his ass. Yeah.
And you know what? I won.
Broke Craig. So, 2 tight ends who outscored Jalen Waddle in a lie.
Kind of disappointed in you, Craig.
I know.
You guys ready?
I caved.
2 tight ends who outscored Jalen Waddle in a lie. That wasn't English. A fifth time. 2 tight ends who outscored Jalen Waddle on a lie. Shane Zylstra.
Sure. Lions, good game today.
Foster Moreau.
Uh-huh.
Kenny Yeboah.
Oh, I saw his touchdown.
Yeah, I did see. I'm going to go with Foster Moreau.
Did Shane Zylstra play it? Zylstra play today? Okay.
Yeah, he had a catch or two. I think one was like 30 yards. So I'm gonna go with Foster Moreau, I think.
Yeah, same.
Foster Moreau did outscore Jalen Waddle.
Damn it.
God damn it.
Shane Zylstra did not. However, Kenny Yeboah, Nate Adkins, Josh Oliver, and Foster Moreau all outscored Jalen Waddle.
Who the hell is Nate Adkins?
He's like this like NPC on the Broncos. And
he used to be on the Texans, I think.
He's like the fourth tight end on any team.
I would like to note that I don't know what's worse, that like Kenny Yeboah and Nate Adkins outscored Jalen Waddle today, or perhaps even better, Jalen Waddle's full game stat line would have made him the 4th highest scoring fantasy receiver on the Denver Broncos at halftime of the Broncos game. So there's that.
He's going to be the single hardest person to rank in rankings next year.
We should just not rank him. Speaking of which, burn book. We've already burned Deshaun Watson, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Swift, Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, Travis Etienne, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Waddle. God, that took too long. Michael Pittman and DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have any candidates for the burn book today?
I want Craig to do it in Tom Brady voice.
I actually, tell me who you guys have. I struggled to find one this week. Who do you have?
I also did.
You struggled? Here, I'll pull up. I asked on the Instagram story, and I'm going to pull it up now. Oh, Waddle.
Well,
he's been burnt.
Can we do him twice?
I would burn him twice. I'll burn his ass.
Should we burn Javonte Williams for getting benched and then playing the next week and playing great?
100%. 100%. Is he not already burned?
No.
Yeah, let's burn him. Dude, what the hell?
Oh, yeah, right when you think Audric Estime is going to play terribly, so you bench
we
Javonte
skipped
Williams.
Fart or Shart this week, but DK, is it Fart or Shart, Javonte Williams?
No, is it?
I guess Audric Estime, Fart or Shart.
Estime is the Fart or Shart. I think, God, I don't know. I think it's a Shart. Because Javonte Williams like ran hard. He's the touchdown he scored. He like got stopped at like the 10-yard line, and then he just kept running for like 10 yards. He got some guys behind him, of course, but I hate Sean Payton. I just can't. I can't handle it. This is purely from a fantasy point of view. I hate him. I don't want to have anything to do with this Broncos team other than Bo Nix. I said this in the offseason, then I backed off of it. It's like my biggest regret in life that I didn't go harder on this. I let some email like influence me. And I'm never letting an email influence me again like that.
Can't do that.
Back down. Now we're just captive to the whims of whatever the fuck Sean Payton wants to do on any given day in this backfield. I started Audric Estime in like 3 leagues today. Luckily, they won by so much. He got garbage time. He had like three snaps in the first quarter or in the first half.
DK, I think you need to just get on board like I did with Sean Payton. It's more fun when you
just get on board.
Join the dark
He's the
side.
new Brock Purdy. Just join the cult.
He's actually been a good coach this year. Last year, I thought he was a jabroni and he's annoying in fantasy. This year, he's like been a good coach and annoying in fantasy.
Who are we burning? Are we going to burn Javonte? We could burn Kirk Cousins.
Javonte and
Kirk Cousins back-to-back games, 0 touchdowns.
I don't know if we have to burn. Dude, you know who we should burn?
Who?
No, we can't burn him. I was going to say Debo.
Ooh.
That's actually kind of a good one.
Kind of. Debo's a really good one.
If I had told you that Ayuk and Kittle would miss like crazy amounts of time this year and that Debo would be like worse than worse than like Jawan Jennings.
Dude, Debo's the perfect one. He had like 20 yards today. And he looks like James Harden out there.
All right, we can burn Debo. I still love our revelation that Russell Wilson. I still love our revelation that Russell Wilson is just like if James Harden had never gone to a strip club, just like threes and layups doing Maury ball out here, but he just no jerseys up in the rafters.
I guess he was in bad strip club cities. DK, you're familiar. How good is the strip club scene in Seattle?
Yeah, that's why Harden left the sauna.
I think there's like 2. There's a handful.
Oh yeah.
So Seattle went to
I haven't
Oklahoma City.
partaken in all of them.
Oh, not in all of them.
Yeah, not in all of them.
A few though.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't know a lot about the strip club scene in Seattle.
All right.
I was kind of like letting on like it did. I have been to one or two, but I don't know a lot about it.
Not as energetic as perhaps Atlanta or Houston.
I doubt it. Yeah.
So you're not ready to give the Seattle strip club scene its flowers.
And now Russ is in Pittsburgh, which is I don't think is a famous strip club city. So he can focus on the game.
Well, he was in Denver. That's where the John Morant thing happened, right?
Oh, is that right?
By the way, the
That's
game
why
was
he played
in
so
the
poorly.
game was in
Shaka
San Francisco
Willis.
today, for the record.
So
Weren't you talking about Debo? Never mind.
no, the strip club thing was about Russ.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Debo versus
No,
the
I said
Seahawks.
Debo looked like James Harden, and that
Right,
he looks
right.
a little
Oh
portly.
yeah, James Harden. DK, do you know what James Harden has his jersey
Portly.
retired in a strip club in
No,
Houston?
no, I get it. I just got confused because I thought you were
No,
talking about Debo
DK. James
getting
Harden likes
distracted
going
by-
to strip clubs.
I got it.
He likes Jay.
He likes
James
them.
Harden.
He likes them.
Also, have we talked to this on the show that James Harden's beard should be like captured and studied by the CDC?
Yeah, dude, it's a petri dish.
That thing, like, you could probably archaeologically, like, you could carbon date
Like
what
the
city
different
he was
layers.
in. It's the most, like, everyone knows he has a beard. No one talks about that's the most disgusting beard in the fucking world.
Yeah, it's just like the coverage is so strong. You can't
Ugh.
see his face.
I genuinely have
hiding?
never understood it. If anybody's like an athlete who has a beard and you're listening, email us. Keenan
Dude,
Allen, I never
Cooper
understood
Kupp
it.
needs to shave that
Kupp.
shit off.
Cooper Kupp,
Good
he looks
God.
like a caveman.
Yeah, dude, I don't understand it.
Ugh, it's like all creeping out of the bottom. It's
Oh
like
my God.
Not a fan of that.
Jeez.
Bulging out the sides. Yeah.
Oh my God. He looks like a troll doll.
It's like a
Like,
70s bush in there.
Oh,
and you haven't been to strip clubs?
yeah. Everyone needs to get a football Brazilian for their chin.
Dude, if James
How does
Harden ever
how
runs
does he
out of
even
money,
stay on?
he should he should do live Netflix. Mike Tyson can shave James Harden's beard like Brazilian wax it like 40-year-old virgin.
Every time I see Cooper Kupp, I'm
Do you
like,
think Tyson shaved his butt before the fight? It looked hairless.
Whoa.
no, I think that's natural.
You think natural?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of actors shave their butts before being
He probably
bottomless.
did.
Yeah.
He probably did.
Glenn Powell, did he shave his butt for anyone but you?
I guarantee it. I mean,
Can you
Powell
imagine
can,
not
grow a
doing
beard.
that?
Shaved his entire body, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure he got like a full wax. Down
Imagine
there.
just not doing that.
Down there. Yeah, because she's like looking up at it.
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
yeah.
She's actually looking up at it during the shot. You know,
Her
during
hand
the
is
scene.
down in there for a scene.
Mhm, mhm.
All
mean-
right. Well, that's all we got. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Carlos and Kai, for producing this episode. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, everyone, for help behind the scenes. Thank you, mostly, everyone, for listening. Email us at ringfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Fantasy court cases. Emails trivia. Emails about the coolest things you wish you could do in a football field. But more importantly, email us what you think we missed about the coolest sports celebrations of all time. Craig says it's the Steph Curry putting people night-night. Jamar Chase, late contender, wiping the football's ass. I don't know.
Kai mentioned Dame Lillard.
No. You have to
the
be
Dame
good.
time?
You have to be good.
It'd be cooler if they had one more
Craig.
games.
What's your favorite Dame Lillard playoff
mentioned the
memory,
dab.
DK?
Austin mentioned the dab. The dab
dab.
from Cam Newton. Cam
Oh.
Newton dabbing. That was pretty ubiquitous for a
But
while.
he didn't
Oh,
invent
yeah.
the dab.
Oh, yeah.
But he popularized it.
Did he? Did Cam Newton popularize the dab?
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll cover this tomorrow on Gen Z Corner.
Thank you, Lord.
Lord.
Thank you, Beyonce, who, by the way, is
Yeah.
playing halftime on Christmas on Netflix.
Yep.
So hopefully they don't have too much buffering issues during that.
How do you guys feel about that we're now adding more halftime shows to the non-Super Bowl games?
I actually think it's a great idea.
Oh, it's a great idea as like from a business standpoint. How far are we away from just like I guess Thanksgiving has one.
I think the number that's correct is 2 good ones, and they try it 3 times and 2 work. I think Christmas is a perfect day because like Beyonce or when your Mariah Carey will do it, that's perfect. And the Super Bowl's good. And then like the Thanksgiving ones are weirdly bad. Like the Thanksgiving ones, it's like you watch the old Creed one and it's good ironically, but the Thanksgiving ones, they don't work. And it's weird because they should work, but they don't at all.
Why? What do you mean? Why don't they?
Who did the Detroit one? It was like Ernest. Who did the Detroit one last year?
It's always, I think it's because they always go after like Chris Daughtry or something. And you're like, meh.
Yes, exactly. It's like a weird. Like this year it's going to be Shabuzi doing the one in the Lions. And he's got the one song, right?
Why don't they do this for every halftime show?
In every NFL game.
They can't. They don't have enough like bands. Come on,
we're probably
like,
not far off, DK, from them doing that. So
honestly, it's better than
dude,
a
like
halftime
every
show.
Sunday night football game. Why don't they just do that?
Do you ever watch the halftime show?
No.
I will say it's funny that like they
band.
just put Terry Bradshaw on at halftime instead of just show me whatever jersey retiring for like Julius Peppers. That's cooler
like,
than like.
I'd even watched like in like NBA games they have like the
guy spinning plates
who can
on his
spin
nose.
like 20
Red
plates.
Panda?
It's always
Or, like,
somebody spinning plates.
Dude, I have this thought all the time, Craig. Like the spinning plates people. I swear to God, I think about this like 2 or 3 times a week. The spinning plate people can do this and go out to these shows, halftime shows, and like spin 35 plates on whatever. And they do it every time. They never drop the fucking plates.
Mm-hmm.
And I can barely put in my contacts without dropping my contact. Like once a day, I drop my contact into the sink and I'm like, God damn it. I can't put it on. Like I've been putting in contacts for like 30 years. Why can't I fucking do it? And then this plate person can get it right every time. It's incredible.
Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what's harder, making it to the NBA or being the guy who could balance 12 plates.
Right. Like
What
they're
is
more
actually
talented.
harder? Yeah.
Have you ever gone to a Cirque du Soleil show? I'm like, we should be watching this instead of the NBA, instead of the NFL. These people are the most impressive people I've ever seen in my life.
My friend and I have a bit where we send each other TikToks of people doing like amazing feats like that. And we always just say like, I couldn't do this if you gave me my entire life.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about the plates thing. I'm like, you could give me any amount of time. I'll never be able to do that.
How do they do that? I can't even put in my goddamn contact. I think about that all the time, I swear.
Yeah. I'll start sending you our videos that we're like,
Okay.
how the fuck do people do this?
Yeah, let me in on that.
Yeah, I want to be in on that.
Okay. All right.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.